A major AI company backs Blender development fund, GPU rendering on AMD cards becomes trendy, lots of software updates, shutdown of PhoenixFD plugin. This and many more are what made this month so special. My name is Alex Andriol and this is a news recap for April 2026. It is hard not to start with the most shocking news of the month. PhoenixFD is officially shutting down. This has been one of the most popular fire and smoke simulation plugin out there, and for a long time basically the only liquid simulation tool available for 3D Max. A well-built, simple and fast solution, but over the past few years it started to lose momentum. The last major update we saw was back in 2022, that's 4 years ago. Meanwhile, the industry kept moving forward. Competitors began adopting AI enhancements, cache compression, GPU-based solvers, and unfortunately, Phoenix just stayed behind. What makes this even harder to understand is the fact that Chaos, the developer of Phoenix, doesn't seem to be struggling at all. Their flagship product VRay has become an incredibly versatile rendering engine and is widely used across studios and entire industries. So why shut Phoenix down? According to some insights, the development process was affected by heavy bureaucracy and shrinking budgets, which eventually led to the team losing developers. At this point, there is no official information from Chaos about any replacement for Phoenix. Personally, I really hope they will keep the documentation online, because a lot of artists have relied on Phoenix for years, even decades, and they will need access to that knowledge during a transition to another tools. The good news is the community is already moving forward. There is a promising alternative Zenith tools inside Tyflow, developed by former PhoenixFD developer Svetlin Nikolov. Check my separate video about Zenith for more details. More news from Chaos this month. VRay is now officially free for Blender, even for commercial work. Chaos co-founder Vlado Koilazov, commenting this release, said, "For years Blender has been the great ambassador for our industry, an accessible entry point that gives people the confidence to become 3D artists. With this free version we want to actively support this vibrant community and all the important work being done by the Blender Foundation, so new artists can aim even higher." To be fair, the previous version of VRay for Blender wasn't that expensive, it was about $199 per year, but making it completely free for an open source 3D application, that's a pretty powerful combination. Sounds amazing, right? Well, don't get too excited, there are some important limitations. Yes, you get an access to the most of VRay's features and you can use them for commercial projects. But your render resolution is capped at Quad HD 2560 by 2560. That's manageable, but here's the bigger issue. Output is limited to 8-bit formats only. So no high-end outputs like TIFF, TGA or EXR in 16 or 32 bits. And that's a serious limitation, because most commercial projects rely on post-production workflows where higher bit depth is essential. There's more, the VRC export feature is disabled as well, meaning you won't be able to send your scene to another machine with full license for rendering. On top of that, distributed rendering and batch rendering are also turned off. And honestly, these are pretty major drawbacks if you are working on commercial projects. It looks like Chaos intentionally designed this version to prevent abusing by studios. But at the same time, even collaboration between freelancers could become tricky because of these restrictions. And anyway, it's still free. You are getting a modern, full-speed, watermark-free rendering engine that could be used for certain paid projects. And if you suddenly land a bigger job, you can always switch to a full license, which costs around $33 per month, roughly $1 per day. One more headline from Chaos this April, and if you have been watching my recaps regularly, this won't be a big surprise for you. VRay now officially supports AMD GPUs in its GPU rendering mode. This became possible thanks to special HAP module which allows CUDA-based code to run on different GPU brands, in this case AMD hardware. This feature arrives with the release of VRay 7, which dropped at the beginning of April. But that's not all, this update is packed with new features and improvements. Let's go through the top of the patch notes. First, a new parallax shader designed for imitating interior details in exterior shots. A super useful trick for architecture visualization. Next, Cosmos gets a massive expansion, tons of new assets including models, people, vegetation, parallax shaders and HDRIs. Plus integration with well-known vendors like Evermotion and Glow Plans. There is also a new quick caustics option inside VRay materials, a much faster and simpler way to approximate caustics without relying on heavy, physically accurate photon calculations. Another update, Gaussian splats are now affected by scene lighting, making them much more flexible and realistic in production. The VRay frame buffer also gets some improvements, along with new camera feature that allows you to override object visibility, similar to include-exclude lists for lights. If you are using VRay in SketchUp or Rhino, there is a big upgrade for you too. Both now supports a node-based material editor. For Anima 6 users, Chaos added a new parking lot generation feature. For full list of updates, check out the official patch notes on Chaos website. Continuing the AMD support trend, Maxon has released a new version of its GPU render engine, Redshift. Version 2026.5 comes with fairly long list of minor updates and fixes. As you might expect from the version number, there are no groundbreaking new features this time. But there's one update that definitely stands out. Redshift now includes experimental support for HAP-based hardware ray tracing, which essentially means AMD GPU support. At the moment, there are not so many details about why this feature is still labeled as experimental, and there's no official performance comparison against the traditional CUDA-based rendering. Still, the bigger picture here is pretty interesting. We are starting to see a clear trend. GPU rendering is slowly moving away from being locked to NVIDIA-only hardware. CFX artists got something big to try this month. Marvelous Designer 2026.0 is here. This is one of those tools that's just incredibly satisfying to use, even if you have zero background in tailoring. And this new version brings ton of updates and new features. A new lacing tool perfect for adding detailed elements to garments like dresses and corsets. A 3D pencil tool which lets you draw clothing patterns directly in 3D space, a much more natural approach compared to traditional 2D pattern workflow. Garments rescaling for different avatar sizes now works correctly. A simple adjustments which previous versions of Marvelous Designer really struggled with. Very nice quality of life upgrade. Another major addition here is built-in marketplace. You get an access to over 14,000 free assets, garments, fabrics, trims, giving you a strong starting point for your projects. And beyond that, you can actually sell your own creations there, or even license them to professional studios for higher value deals. There is also a new experimental bones system for rigging, designed to make garments behave properly in games. For now it's limited to skirts only, but more garment types are expected in future updates. A few more small improvements: isolation mode for focusing on specific parts of garment, GPU simulation for trims, which is significantly faster than CPU mode, and updates to the retopology module, improving both quality and performance. Honestly, this is a fantastic app. I introduced it to myself during a CG challenge on 3dmodels.org for a space art project. With zero CFX background, I still managed to create a basic space suit while having lots of fun. Acquisition news. Autodesk has acquired the core technology of AI motion capture film Radical, and honestly this feels more like a devourer. This story began a few years ago. In May 2022, Autodesk invested in Radical's AI motion capture platform. The amount of this investment wasn't disclosed, but the official statement described this as move toward democratizing end-to-end production in the cloud. And this democratization didn't stop there. Similar story in 2024, Autodesk also acquired Wonder Studio, which has been rebranded as Flow Studio within the Autodesk Media Products Group. Just the same two services, Radical and Wonder Studio, owned by Autodesk, live footage mockup and inserting a CG character into the video. From a certain point of view, all this may look like a Flow Studio's competitor removed from the market. Of course, I would prefer democratization term, and the rest is up to you. Another strong example of AI tools in animation. Cascadeur, which just reached version 2026.1 this month. This animation app, originally launched in 2019 by Nicky Game Studio, includes all classic tools for rigging and keyframe animation, but that's not what makes it special. What really sets Cascadeur apart is its AI-powered workflow. With its semi-automated toolset, the app lets you quickly rig imported models, help you to define key poses, and then takes care of the rest. The transition animation is generated automatically, taking into account body physics and motion trajectories. Once your animation is ready, you can export it in FBX, Collada or USD formats and then use it in any major DCC application or game engine. April's release includes several new features and quality of life improvements. First, Cascadeur now integrates the Filament PBR rendering engine, developed by Google. This means you can set up materials directly inside Cascadeur, add lights, and use HDRI environments for much better visual feedback in the viewport. Another big update, full support for quadrupeds. That includes controller creation, animation, auto-posing, auto-physics, and even retargeting animations between different animal models. AI improvements are also here. Updated training data enhances in-betweening generation, and now constraints are properly respected during auto-posing and auto-physics, resulting in much more natural character movement. For paid users, there is an improved live link with Unreal Engine. The Cascadeur timeline now syncs with Unreal Sequencer in real time, and you can even connect multiple characters from different Cascadeur projects into a single scene. There is also a completely new animation tool, Root Motion. Compared to standard in-betweening, Root Motion generates much wider range of movement variations and can even apply stylistic motion like sneaking or limping based on reference animation. And finally, a penetration cleaning tool helps you to eliminate mesh intersections in your animation, saving you a lot of time on manual fixing. A company I mentioned in my last year's recaps, ZibraGDS, is back with big announcement this month. They've just launched the open beta for their groundbreaking tool, ZibraGDS. For those who has no clue what's that, ZibraGDS is an AI-powered solution for cache compression and machine learning pipelines designed to handle extremely heavy animated meshes in real time. It drastically reduces memory usage and rendering costs, which makes it highly relevant for games, film, and virtual production workflows. Until May 29, ZibraGDS is available for free within an open beta period. If you are working with the complex simulations or high-density geometry, this is definitely something worth testing. You can visit their website, join the open beta, and get access to the Unreal Engine plugin to try it out yourself. Maxon updated Cinema4D in April as well. This popular CG app has reached version 2026.2 and it comes with some solid new features. The headline addition is the new Fabric Brush tool, designed for artistic refinement of clothes-based objects. These physically accurate adjustments are powered by clothes simulation system, so you can see results in real time, complete with natural wrinkles and folds, and honestly the demos looks very satisfying. There are also a number of small improvements across core tools. Modeling gets new C and S shape bend tools. For animators, there is a new button for quick tangent alignment, making it much easier to achieve smooth and polished motion. The target effector now includes a loop option, allowing seamless continuous retargeting. Another big update, version 2026.2, introduces ARM support for Windows devices. According to Maxon's director of product Rick Barrett, native ARM support reduces memory usage by 1.5 GB and can improve performance over 50%. Maxon also announced an upcoming beta version of Cinema4D for iPad. At this moment, we only have the technical requirements. The minimum spec is an M2 chip, meaning iPad Pro 2022 or newer. For the best experience, M3-based devices are recommended. Adobe, while having a serious issues through past few years, in April released AfterEffects 26.2 and Substance 3D Designer 16. We will dive deep into Adobe's situation in a separate video, but for now let's quickly go over these two releases, starting with AfterEffects. The flagship feature in this version is an automated AI-driven Made generation tool. Pretty similar in concept to the Onyx AI Made tool I mentioned in last month's recap. As for the Substance 3D Designer, despite this being a major version release, the update itself isn't packed with the crazy stuff, yet there are some few notable additions. The new Shape Splatter node for scattering 3D objects, a set of new nodes for creating custom 3D shapes using signed distance fields, and some rendering updates, including 2 new render engines, along with the removal of the old VRay renderer. A tool I mentioned last year, the Paradigm Solver for Houdini, developed by Siri Accelerated, has finally reached its 1.0 release. This volumetric flip solver is worth paying attention to as an alternative to Houdini's default solvers, which are mostly CPU-based and could be very slow. Paradigm, on the other hand, is fully GPU-based, allowing much faster iteration, in some cases close to real-time, depending on scale and your hardware. Right now it's especially strong for small-scale simulations. For larger scenarios like open water, version 1.0 introduces a new Paradigm Tank node, but it still lacks some important features like white water simulation and support for Houdini's ocean spectra tools for fast wave generation. That said, development is ongoing. An open beta version 1.1 is planned for May this year, and during that period the new builds will be free for use. Check the official website for more details. Big corporation optimization news. April turned out to be a rough month as two major industry players, Sony Picture Entertainment and the Walt Disney Company, announced new waves of layoffs. For Sony, the shutting down of Pixelmondo Studio appears to be just one step in a broader restructuring effort, what they describe as optimization and strategy sharpening. Interestingly, this doesn't seem to be framed as a financial issue. At the same time, Sony is investing in AI-focused companies, including Cinemassive Labs, which works in AI solutions for games and rendering. In their official statement, Sony said, "Over the past year, we have sharpened our strategy and clarified where we believe the greatest opportunity exists. We are aligning our organization with where the business is going, not where it has been." Now, translating that into a plain language, it likely means they are not seeing strong future growth in areas like traditional VFX pipelines, including parts of Pixelmondo, and they are shifting their focus towards AI-driven technology instead. Now moving to Disney, and this situation is even more complex. Disney previously had a partnership with OpenAI and was reportedly planning to use Sora for content creation, but after Sora was shut down last month, the deal was terminated. On top of that, Disney went through leadership changes earlier this year, with Josh D'Amaro stepping in as CEO, replacing Bob Iger. In his statements, D'Amaro emphasizes a commitment to content created by human artists and made it clear that he does not see AI as replacement for real human. And yet layoffs are still happening. Around 1,000 positions are reportedly being cut as part of this latest restructuring. Some media outlets downplay this by pointing out that Disney employs around 230,000 people, making this less than 0.5% to be laid off. But that number includes a large portion of theme park staff, and we don't have a clear breakdown of how many employees are actually involved in production, the area most likely affected by those cuts. It is also worth to be mentioned that last year Disney laid off around 8,000 employees, many of them in media-related departments. And the final news report came right at the end of April. Blender has gained a new corporate patron. The one is contributing nearly €250,000 per year to the Blender Development Fund. And it's a big one. ANTHROPIC, the one is the most high-profile AI companies right now. The creator of Claude language model has officially become a Blender patron. What makes this especially interesting is that ANTHROPIC is very different to previous patrons. It's not a hardware manufacturer like Wacom, Intel or Nvidia. Also, it's not a traditional software company like Epic Games, Chaos, Google and Otoy. And this is the first time when Blender has received major backing from pure AI company, and the one is the biggest one at the same time. If you think this is just a charitable contribution, the things are a little bit more complex here. Around the same time it was announced that ANTHROPIC's Claude models are being integrated into Blender via MCP server. Nothing too groundbreaking yet, just a scene debugging and simple automated adjustments. But the tendency became pretty clear. AI companies are shifting their strategies. Instead of focusing purely on direct content generation, the whole replace artists or kill Hollywood narrative that was trending a few years ago has switched to making a nest inside existing industry tools. We have seen these AI injections across software like Cinema4D, Houdini, Autodesk Maya, and now Blender joined that list. AI companies are changing and looking for a good pivot point to leverage their income. This is not an industry revolution, this is a big money business. And that's it for April. Honestly, after an absolutely insane March, I was pretty confident this month would be a bit quieter. Thanks for watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget you are invited to the next news recap in May. See you around, bye.